What's up YouTube, Capital G here talking about heroes in this video and why they might just become the scariest deck in the entire TCG. This is not exaggeration, this is not hyperbole. I really believe that heroes are going to become one of the strongest decks in the entire game very shortly, and I was going to do a hero discussion sometime this week probably on my channel because you guys know that regional season kind of started last week for like the new format and whatnot. And actually what you might not know is two mass hero versions actually made top 8 across the regionals and in North America, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And one of the players reached out to me on YouTube. He was like, hey Cap, can you do maybe like a deck profile on my channel? I was like, well, maybe I can do like a discussion. I can show your deck and talk about some of the reasons why it's top, because a lot of people know about mass heroes, and kind of ask if people think that mass heroes can be they can be kind of a dark sleeper this format, because I was like, I think the deck can be around tier 1.5 like as it stands right now, but I did not see this coming. And believe me, I'm someone who believes in heroes a lot. Like, I think when I did my top 10 decks of the format, the Yu-Gi-Oh hierarchy, I put them as 5th. I tied them with Mermill. Honestly, you can just fucking throw out Mermill. Forget about that deck. I think, God, I really think that heroes are like top 3 potential right now. And you guys are like, why the fuck are you so high on heroes right now? What exactly has changed? It's not what they have right now. It's really what they're about to get. Treatoad changes this deck's fortune so much. And you guys know I had a tournament yesterday. We had 256 people. This was a pretty big tournament. I mean, 256, that's basically the size of a regional. Now, we didn't do Swiss. It was single elimination. But to basically, end up making to like top 8, you had to still run through 5 rounds of Swiss, if I'm not mistaken. And then to get to the finals, you had to win top 8 and then win the top 4 as well. So it was a lot of grinding. I think the players who were in the finals, they were both like 7-0. And to my fucking shock, guys, I did not see this coming. We had a Heroes finals like mirror match. We had a fucking Treatoad Hero final mirror match, and I could not see that coming because we allowed everything into this tournament, guys. ABC, DDDs, like all the powerful decks from the OCG, you know what I mean? Like Dark Lords and everything that you can think of. We just didn't allow the OCG banned cards. Like, we didn't allow cards that they have that we don't have. Things like Monster Reborn and Heartbeat's Feather Duster and, Wind Up Carriers and Mighty. But all those powerful decks in the OCG that we don't have right this second in the TCG, we allowed all of them in, and heroes beat all of them. You know what I mean? Like, this deck is incredible. And you might ask, well, Cap, if the deck's so strong, why doesn't anybody play heroes? It really has to do not with heroes have right now, but the fact that when they get Treatoad, their ceiling is going to be raised exponentially. It's going to become so much better as far as like the turn 1 boards that heroes are making and the amount of stun that they can put on you, because heroes have never been technically bad. I mean, really, heroes like mass heroes are really tied to Dark Law, and Dark Law is a card that, in my opinion, much like Ophion, it's immune to power creep. I mean, when you have a walking one-sided Macrocosmos that is just a card that Macrocosmos is a card that's just never going to be bad, and you have a card that also takes cards out of your opponent's hand for searching, which we know every deck fundamentally wants to do pretty much in Yu-Gi-Oh! You just have a card that's going to stun a lot of the meta, and it's just going to be a card that even if it doesn't completely wreck you, it's just a card that's just not pleasant to deal with. And Dark Law in Mass Heroes have never really been, like, it's never been about, is the deck bad? It's really been about how good can the turn 1 fields be? You know what I mean? Like, what can we put alongside of Dark Law to stun our opponent so hard that they basically can't crack our board, and basically we just, we out-resource them. They spend so many cards trying to get out of this lock, but by the time that they finally get out of it, they have like 1 card left to our like 3 or 4 cards, or maybe even 5 cards. And, for a very long time, when heroes first came out in the TCG, it was like the only thing you had was just Dark Law. So if your opponent killed it, you just lost. And Dark Law it didn't have anything on things like Regeki or like the Mirror Force cards. That's why a lot of hero players had to run things like Forbidden Lance and whatnot in the early days. Maybe even some players experimented with cards such as like Safe Zone, although that might have been a little extreme. I mean, if you don't believe me, all you gotta do is look at the OCG. I mean, 2 years ago, heroes ended up winning nationals. Heroes. They were the best deck in Japan, and it was because, think about what Heroes were kind of like after Breaker of Shadows, where you could have the turn 1 fields of like, you know, Dark Law plus Rafflesia, Dark Law plus like Cyber Dragon Infinity off of Ptolemaeus, how much better those fields were than just Dark Law by itself. They had those cards way before Breaker of Shadows came out in the OCG, and there was no, you know, performances and pals to compete with. So Heroes were like the definitive tier 1, like best deck. Well, I don't want to say tier 0. They were like the best deck in Japan, but Konami ended up basically wrecking the deck. Like they limited Shadow Mist and they hit, you know, Bubble Man, and that's basically when Heroes start, you know, falling out of favor in the OCG. So some people might be like, well, Cap, if this deck is so good and you believe in it, you think that it's going to be like one of the best decks, why does nobody play in the OCG? It's because you can't play this deck in the OCG. That's one of the biggest things about this deck that you're going to see, is that the Japanese players will have never played this deck the way that we're playing it. This deck is going to be 100% legal in 2 months, guys, and they can't build this deck in the OCG because they only have 2 Bubble Mans, and they only have 1 Shadow Mist, and they don't have Norden anymore, and all of these cards let you summon Treatoad. So it's like, now think about it, right? Think about summoning a Dark Law, which is a card that already super stuns your opponent, but now you can't Regeki them. You know how when your opponent has Dark Law plus Rafflesia, you're like, oh, I got the Regeki, you know, I've got the Dark Hole, I can out these boards. Like, can't do that anymore, because when I summon Treatoad off of Bahamut Shark, which is very easily, because, you know, this deck can play 10 Goldfish, this deck can play Elder Entity Norden, so there's a lot of warders to go around to go into Bahamut Shark. Now, I mean, how are you going to out that board? I mean, even if you have Kaijus, which most people consider to be like the card that breaks any board, like if you Kaiju me and I have Bahamut, I've got Treatoad, and I've got Dark Law, what are you taking out? Oh, you get rid of my Dark Law? Okay, whatever you throw at me, I'm just going to Treatoad it. Next turn, I've still got Bahamut Shark. I'm going to summon another Treatoad and just, like, get resources. By the way, every time that I launch Treatoad and take your card, so you end up going neg like crazy, I'm still getting, like, 10 Goldfish back to my hand. So you're going, like, neg 2, and you're not even cracking my board. Oh, you're going to get rid of my Treatoad? Okay, well, you still have to deal with Dark Law, basically shitting on your, making it so that you don't have a graveyard. You still have to deal with Dark Law, taking cards out of your hand. And again, if you don't kill Bahamut Shark, I'm just going to get another Treatoad next turn anyways. Like, Heroes I think they're going to start making the most constricting boards in the entire game. Maybe Heroes or DDD. I think it'll even be better than what ABC are pumping out in. This is going to, I guess, be the way that Heroes look. Now, there are 2 different versions. This is actually the version that got first place. It's a little shocking to see Pot of Desires playing in Heroes. I wouldn't have thought about that, but for anybody who's still on the fence, man, like, come on, guys. Pot of Desires is being played in everything. I've said it once, I'll say it again. If you have a whole bunch of cards that can be ran at 3, Pot of Desires is just a go-to card. Like, Shadow Mist is at 3, Bubble Man's at 3, your Searchers are at 3, Hero Lives, Mass Change, they're all at 3, your Solemns are at 3, this guy runs Darude Mirror Force, that's at 3. Like, all your powerful cards are at 3, so you don't have to worry about running out of them. I mean, maybe every once in a while you're gonna lose your Bottomless or your Soul Charge, but that's just the cost of getting 2 free cards. And man, could you imagine just a turn 1, maybe with Soul Charge and Instant Fusion, where you have like Dark Law, Rafflesia, and Treatoad? What do you do to that field? You just sit there and lose to it. Like, you have no ways of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'll show you guys the version that got second place. This is the second place version that my homeboy Pegasus O played. It's very similar to the first place version. The extra deck is a little bit different. He decided to run Dark Rebellion Sea Dragon. He decided to run things like Acid, which the first place player, I can't even speak. The first place player didn't even run an Acid. Like, that tells you where Heroes have migrated to. Like, the focus is on Xing. But like, you guys might be wondering, why are they running Swords of Concealing Light? Swords of Concealing Light is super good in Heroes. It makes it so if your opponent opens with, like, you know, those stun cards, like if they open with the Cyber Dragon Infinity or ABC Dragon, you can just put those monsters face down. Either your opponent has to waste their negate on this Swords of Concealing Light, their, you know, Cyber Dragon Infinity negates, or they have to risk, you know, everything going face down and then be just summoning my Dark Law and just like busting your shit open. This version ran Regeki, the other one didn't. I don't know if Regeki is that necessary in Heroes. I mean, if you get your turn 1 board, I mean, I don't really know what your opponent's throwing at you that you really desperately need to Regeki, unless they're setting, even if they set a Cyber, or even if they set a Fossil Dyna, like, you can just Treatoad that. What I'm saying in this video, guys, is that Heroes are about to become an incredibly scary deck because the boards that they are going to make are going to be so difficult to crack that even like a Kaiju won't handle it. If you have things like Regeki that usually crack hero boards, they're not going to crack hero boards anymore. Heroes are going to have more draw power because now they can play Pot of Desires in their main deck. And I think you're going to see a fundamental meta shift. You're going to start seeing every single deck that can summon Bahamut Shark to go into Treatoad is going to. You're going to start seeing 10 Goldfish being played in a lot of decks. You're going to start seeing, people winning with Dynamis. I've actually lost a Dynamis because, fucking guy opened up with, freaking 2 Pterodactyls. He exceeded into Treatoad. He set like a bottomless and, he went Bahamut Shark into Treatoad. He set like a bottomless and a Solomon. I was like, well, fuck, I can't out this board, Even if I have Twin Twister to get rid of the back row, he'll just take my Twin Twister and then he'll use it against me next turn. I'll just lose. If I try and summon into the exceed play, he'll just Solomon it. Like, the boards just become so difficult, and heroes are going to be able to make the best Treatoad boards in the game. I played in my Utopia deck, but my Utopia deck can't summon Darklaw. I can't summon Darklaw plus Reflation, basically macrocosmos my opponent's entire, existence out of the game. So you guys let me know what you think. I think that heroes are a very legitimate deck. I think that if you are going to want to move forward, guys, Treatoad is just going to be one of the cards that we're just going to have to deal with. It's going to be a meta-defining card, and heroes are probably going to use it better than any deck in the game. So if you're a hero fan, your deck's about to come back. And again, for anybody who's just like, Cap, you're full of shit, just understand that the OCG cannot run this deck. They don't have the cards. They can never run this deck the way we can run it. They don't have Norton anymore. They don't have Triple Bubble Man. They don't have Triple Shadow Mist. So the OCG has never been able to run this card, and for this foreseeable future, they won't be able to. So this will be a deck that's exclusive to us. You know what I mean? So anyways, thank you guys for watching as always. If you enjoyed the video, if you like heroes, give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And shit, what can we say, boys? Fucking Hero Master Race. Darklaw, always relevant.